Mindset and belief play a huge part in your sales outreach. If you are making calls regularly, then you will start to see your confidence grow, especially if you're seeing the results or the outcome of those calls start to move more positively. Now, we're not going to sugarcoat it. We know that sales is challenging. We know that outreach is often even more challenging. And it's not necessarily the most fun part, but it becomes fun. It gets to be fun when you become really good at it. And that's ultimately the blocker. People that hate cold calling is because they are not seeing success in it. It's like anything else. Like, I hate running. I'm not very good at it. Why would I do it? Whereas if I can go out there and do something that I'm really good at, really happy to, just same as if you start playing games with friends and you become like the ultimate champion of those games, you want to keep playing those games because you know the chances are you're going to win. And so when we look at sales in any organization or as an individual, is that we're often put off doing the things that we're not very good at. And if we keep trying the same thing again with the same result, we're just going to say, well, it just doesn't work. When actually we need to flip that and we need to look at different ways. Now, there are ways when we look at processes and technique and language, but often it comes down to what we think, to what we believe. And so if we go into these calls being like, these are stupid, these are rubbish, these are an absolute waste of time, but my sales manager keeps making me do them, then we're going to keep doing them, but we're going to do them with that mindset, with that energy. And therefore we're just not going to get the results. And so firstly, we need to believe in ourselves. But secondly, we need to believe in what it is that we are selling. And so I share a lot about my journey into sales was not necessarily of me being like, yes, I love sales. Get me out there. Let me sell some stuff to the people of the world. That was definitely not me. And, my sales journey started off with me not wanting to do it. I used yellow pages, a ruler, a pencil, and I would get through and cross through and speak to everybody. And I wasn't that successful because I didn't really believe in what it was that we were selling. I didn't really understand the benefit and I didn't really understand who was buying. And so then when I fast forward to when I actually then was taking on this sales role and realized that we could solve problems for so many businesses if they took on or brought or worked with us for their hosting services. For me, it was a no-brainer. It was an absolute no-brainer to pick up that phone, to ring an organization similar to the ones that we've helped before and reach out to them and share what it is that we've been doing and understand how they're currently navigating the challenges that we had seen. And so for me, that belief mindset of the fact that we could solve problems, that we'd seen it, and that you have to know about this, the energy that I would show up at when it comes to selling would be, you're welcome. Not in an egotistical way, but you're welcome. I'm ringing you because you need to know about this. I'm getting in touch because I believe that you are missing out because you haven't had exposure to what it is that we're doing. And so if you're doing something very niche, then that's really going to help you to drive forward. If you're doing something that's heavily offered in the market, then we need to stand out in terms of how we deliver and some of the results or some of the specialties that we offer within the organization. And so the importance of mindset and believing in yourself, but also believing in what it is that you're offering, whether it be a company or a product or a service, is extremely important. Because if you don't believe in it, it's very difficult to sell. Now, one of my first jobs in events, that was my background, was events, was I was working for voted one of the worst hotels in the UK. Yeah, pretty proud of that. It was the only place that would give me a job with no qualifications and no experience. So, I took on the role. I think I was events manager in that first role, first ever job in events, and they gave me the events manager role. Says a lot about the organization. And I went in there with a belief that I loved what it was that I was doing, and I was really excited about getting in there. But when you go in there, you're looking at this kind of, rundown room with, kind of curtains on half the windows, etc. It's a very difficult sell, but our demographic was very different to those that when I'd worked previously at other, 5-star hotels, more so in the hospitality space, but very, very different clientele. And so the hotel was pushing these events, and I was like, these don't resonate with the people that are staying or the people that are local to here. So we ended up switching what it was that we actually offered. So we ended up offering weddings for under £1,000. We promoted funeral services. There was plenty of funeral homes locally. We then promoted the fact we were close to the airport. So we looked at those kind of quick meetings and conference options there. We started getting a lot of interest. And because I believed in the fact that we could now sell these rooms and the space and the services to the right demographic at the right investment point, we started to see a real turn in inquiries and bookings. Whereas previously, if I'm trying to get a different demographic to come in and spend a certain price point, their expectations are here and our offering is here. And so then when I'm also taking them through, I'm like, well, I don't think these guys are going to enjoy this. I don't think this is the ideal space for them. It's very difficult to sell that. And so I would take a look at you as a salesperson and look at, do you believe in what you sell? Do you believe in the organization? Do you believe in the product or service? And have you had enough exposure to the organizations or people that are buying your product or service and seeing great results and getting, the outcomes that they want? Are they overcoming their problems? And so when we can get exposure to that, our mindset will start to change. And if you're new in the role, or if you're leading a team and you've got new salespeople in that role, give them as much exposure to the people you're working with, the people that rave about you, because that's going to make a huge difference. Now, once we've got our belief set, we've now got to show up. Now, the energy and the confidence comes because now we believe. So those two components, although we need them, I would say we don't need to think too much about them, because we now we've unlocked that. If I do this or speak to these people, these are the outcomes I'm going to be able to generate. They're welcome that I'm letting them know, and whether they're right for it right now, that's okay, because I'm just here just to inform. I'm here to educate. I'm here to add value. And so then when we look then that we've got this confidence, we've got this certainty, when we aim to be of service rather than just selling, it means then that we can add value, we can educate, we can inspire, we can show what's possible. And that comes through repeatability, that comes through with regular touch points, with adding value, with inviting them to webinars, with sharing collateral. All of that happens, and that falls into the 7 to 15 touch points that we have to do to enable us to sell more effectively, especially in that cold arena where they've maybe not engaged with us or understand what it is that we do, or even the organization that we work for. And then finally, we need to be able to manage objections or brush offs, because they're likely to be brush offs at this stage, with respect. And what I mean by with respect is that when somebody says no, we're okay. We've got somebody for that. It's not then just then trying to hammer forward so that in the hope that you can try and get something across the line, but it's also not saying, okay, thanks, bye. Because if someone says, okay, thanks, bye, it means that we've come across one kind of road bump, shall we say, and we've just turned around and gone the other way. When actually we know now that we are there, we're here to educate, we're here to deliver a service, and we believe in that. And so when somebody says we're all good or no, we're okay for now, understand what they actually mean. Understand what that means. Understand who they're currently working with. Understand what challenges they're currently experiencing or what they've been doing so far, and then let them go. So the goal here is that we understand that they're okay. We understand that this might not be right for them right now, but then understand something a little bit more, so that when we call them again in 3 months, or when it comes to trying to add value, we know what value we should be adding. We know how we can show up for them. And so when we think about the right mindset, we think about the energy and the confidence that we bring. We then think about the point of difference and the being of service and the educating, and then getting through then to those objections or brush offs, and not just taking it lying down, but understanding a little bit more. And we switch the goal within that call from, can I sell you something? Can I secure a meeting? To, can I just find out something more? Can I find out one more piece of information that will help me call them back? And when we do that, just that one more piece of information, then we let them go. They've also left feeling, oh, that wasn't too hard. They didn't push too hard. They didn't keep going when I've said, no, I'm okay. And we didn't get to the point where they had to hang up on us because we're not listening. And so when we do that, all of this will make your next cold call or your next outreach much more effective from that first point. But it will also allow us to be able to find more reasons to reach out and engage in the future, in the coming weeks and coming months. So have an assessment, do a self-assessment of what it is you're currently doing. If you're leading a team, have a look at what they're currently doing. And we do offer a free sales readiness report. If you haven't yet done that, it will assess you and give you a percentage score against key areas in terms of your outreach. And you'll be able to find then what else you should be focusing on and how you can turn your outreach flops into outreach success.